Hey, it's Ray here, and I want to do a quick little preview video of a new product that'll be coming out soon that allows you to do video editing right from your browser. Now, I know there's been other programs that have done this in the past, but I guarantee you this is way different in not only the experience, but the power and everything in between. I've barely scratched the surface with this, and I'm going to show you some of the features in here, but there's so much more in here that I've been shown that I don't even know how to use yet because I haven't really had the opportunity to play with it for a ton of hours, but I wanted to share this with you immediately because this is way cool. So you can see here, I'm actually on the main screen here where you can see some of the information, but I'm going to open up, in this case, I'm going to open up a new project, and I'm going to give this a name. I'm just going to call it Test 1. And you can see you can do widescreen, social, square, portrait, whatever you need to do. We're going to do widescreen, which is what I mostly do. Now, look at this interface. Looks like a traditional standard video timeline-based editor. And you've got different areas in here. So you've got your tools here. So you've got a library, which the library is your stuff in there. So when we click on that, you can see these are the things that I've uploaded. You've also got stock media, which your stock media is going to be coming from Unsplash, Pixabay, Pixels, and Giphy. You've also got audio that's already built into here with a few tracks. You've got overlays, which are these animated overlays. And if we click on this on the right-hand side, you can kind of see what each of these looks like. Okay, so you can kind of test these out. And these are nice for little transitions and little doodads to add into things. And there's lots of different ones to choose from. And then you've got your motion graphics. Now, this is really cool. This is all built into the main program here. So look at this one here. This is a subscribe to YouTube. Okay, you see you got all these different subscribe buttons in here. You can even put in the number, and I'll show you all of this in a few minutes. You've got some Facebook emoji style things going on here. Follow us at. I mean, just look at all these really cool animations that are in here. You got this nice little Instagram one here. And Twitter down here. So all of these are built right into this program. Next, we've got our text area. Now, this is where you can add simple text. Just by literally clicking the button here, you can just put text on the screen, which is always a very useful feature. You've also got a subtitle that you can add in there if you want to do subtitles. And again, very easy to set that up. But then down here, you've got all sorts of animated text effects that you can add in here. So like for instance, we click on this here, you see this is what it looks like. And all we do to put these in is bring them into our timeline, just like so. And there it is. And you can resize this. Now I want you to notice how responsive this is for a web browser-based video editor. In fact, we don't even have to render. We can watch this right now. No rendering whatsoever. It automatically just works. And that to me, absolutely crazy that you can do that. Now, watch this because we're going to come back. Well, first of all, we've also got shapes in here. So if you wanted to add different shape things, you can do that in here as well. And you've also got your transitions that you can choose from. Okay, and these are previews of all those transitions. You can kind of see how they work. And down here, we've got what's called reviews. And I'm going to share that later. That is going to blow your mind. I guarantee it. So let's go back up here to our library, and I'm going to take this instant spokesperson.
If you're looking for a reliable professional and...
Okay, and there's the preview of that. We're going to take that, and we're going to bring that in, and we're going to drop that underneath the graphic that we did on this first timeline. Now, I'm going to let this go, and I want you to watch what happens. Okay, there it is, and we're going to hit play.
If you're looking for a reliable professional...
It plays perfectly smooth, and that graphic is on there without any rendering whatsoever. It is 100% real time. And that is what's really cool about this. You see, because this is working on the cloud, all of that's being done by supercomputers of some kind that I don't understand anything about, but I don't care because all I care about is the fact that my graphics and my animations work immediately. But rather than running on your computer, it's running on theirs, which are way faster, and you're getting that instant preview on that. What's great about that, by the way, this means that you can use very underpowered computers. If you've got an old laptop, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can edit this fast even on an old laptop. You don't need to have, the latest Mac Pro in order to do some great editing. You can use an old Windows laptop or an old Apple laptop that you've got. As long as it's got a browser, you can do this. Okay, and that's what's really cool about this. In fact, they told me it works really well if you buy one of those really inexpensive Chromebooks. You can be editing high-end stuff at super speeds on one of those, little cheapy Chromebooks, which is really, really cool. Okay, so this is how we put this together. Now, obviously, we want to be able to come in here and edit this down. If we were working on an instant spokesperson, we probably would want to have this all the way at the end. Now, this is a big timeline, so over here you've got your tools to shorten your timeline down, so you can bring this over here, because we may want to have this pop in over here, right? Come in at the end, so we're going to find where that end point is. So right about here is where we would want that animation to come in. And just like with a normal editor, you just grab the end to trim that down, okay? And so now we've got this popping up onto here, and we can move this around, just like so. Resize this to whatever size we want it to be, and then you can make your changes to it. So if you hit Edit Animation, we could have this be the phone number, let's say. So we would come in here and just type 888, 888, 8888. What a great phone number. And the website, we can just call this www.site.com. Okay. And so now we've got this animation in here ready to go, and we can save this just like so. And of course, over here on the right-hand side, these are your tools for anything that you click on. So if we come back here to some of our video in the instant spokesperson video here, we can click on this, and you'll see that we've now got the controls for this here. We can change the opacity and bring that down if we wanted to. We could scale this up. We can lock the scale. So for whatever reason, if we wanted it bigger, if you look on here, we can do this by the handles, and you'll see it changes the size there. Okay, and it'll snap down to the 100 again. You can automatically add transitions in and out by clicking these buttons here. So that's going to automatically add those in. Okay. And if we scroll back there, you see there's our animation. We can resize that transition. And I don't even know what transition that was. I wasn't paying attention. But
if you're looking for...
Okay, so kind of cool. And you don't need to keep that, of course. You don't need to have a transition there if you don't want to. Whoops. As I just deleted the whole thing. Sorry, guys. We can pull that out of there. And back over here, you can also crop your video. So if we needed to crop that down, we could. This is great for doing green screening, which this program also does. You can crop the tops, okay? The right, the bottom. You can also skew the perspective of this too if you want. Whoop, have some fun with that. That's kind of cool for the graphics. Like for instance, if you like this graphic but you want to do it cool guy style, you can click on the graphic here, and we can still skew that and make it cool guy style like so. All right, so now we got cool guy style. And with this here, you can also come up to the top here and you can do effects and you can do color. Before we do it on the text here, I want to actually go back into here and click on our clip here. And so now we're going to go into the effects here. Now we can add different effects to this. Like this is a fisheye effect. If you wanted to add that in there, it's going to add that weird fisheye effect. If you needed to add glitches to it, you could do that. And it's going to glitch the video, and you can change the intensity and how often it repeats. You've got a zoom. So there's all sorts of cool little things in there. And this is where your green screen tools are if you had a green screen video in there. Advanced, you've got vignettes, so you can add a vignette to this, and that's going to darken the edges. Okay. You've got a blur. If you need to do a blur, you can blur the video. You can add noise to the video. Which, by the way, this is a really cool feature to have because when you're compressing your video for things like YouTube, if you put noise, just a little bit of noise, YouTube, if you put noise, just a little bit of noise, okay. into your videos, it will actually cause the YouTube algorithms to work harder on that video and make you a nicer image in the end, because what happens is that noise makes them have to adjust the entire image all the time, which is going to improve the quality overall. So just a little tip there. Also in here, you've got your color effects, And you can see there's all these pre-built ones, Technicolor and Brownie and Sepia and black and white and Polaroids. If you want it to look like a Polaroid, you could do that. If you want it to look sepia, you could do that. A Brownie camera, this is what that would look like, a Technicolor, okay? And of course, if you want to undo any of these, by the way, the undo button is over here, and that will allow you to just keep going back and undo everything. Down here, you've got your basic color adjustments. So if you wanted to adjust the brightness, you could, whoop, just like so. Bring it back down and leave it at 100. You can change the contrast, which again, by the way, adding a little bit of contrast can help you when you're compressing things on sites like YouTube. Okay, you can up your saturation if you want to have a nice saturated, or you can go all the way down to black and white. And you can even adjust the hue, so if you want to get some funky colors, you can do that as well. That's going to allow you to have a little bit of fun there. And down here, you've got your advanced, where you can mess with your different gamma tones here, so you can adjust your reds, you can adjust your greens, you can adjust your blues. Okay. You can also do some color blending effects if you want here. So you'd come down here and turn this on, and you could choose the different settings here. So for instance, if we wanted to do an add, we could do that. And you'll see because we've got a white color here, it added white to that. And if we were to change this color, you'll see that it's going to add a green color. And you can come in here and you can make changes to that too. Yeah, let's close that out of the way here. You can do difference. You can do subtracts. You can do multiplies. So all these different effects, screen, lighten, overlay, and then of course you can make changes to that by choosing a different color as well. And that's just going to give you some cool color effects here. So any of that is up to you, whether you want to have some fun with that or not. You can always turn it back off if you want in the end. Now that is your basic editing, and as you can see, very, very cool, very easy to do, very similar to any desktop tool, super fast. Considering that this is a cloud-based software, I am absolutely blown away by this. And you can really start to do some neat stuff. You can, of course, bring in all of your own media that you want to have in there. To start editing your projects like I have here. This is the instant spokesperson video that I've uploaded into here. You can add your own music and whatnot. One thing I want to show you is there are some advanced tools in here that are really, really cool. And one of them is this button right down here. And this is called Reviews. Now what this does is this allows you, when you click this here, to generate a review link right from the program, so you could send this to a client without having to export your video, host the video somewhere on YouTube or on Wasabi or S3, and then send the client that video and then have them make their changes. You can simply come in here, generate a review link, okay? You can even expire that link if you want, and send that to the client. And when they get that review link, so let's actually generate one here. So here's our review link. So if I was to copy this, and I'm going to switch to a different browser here for a second. Okay, so we're going to come in here. Let's just go, let's just create a new tab here. Paste this in here and open it. You can see, here's our review. We can watch this video, but watch what you can do too. So we can watch this video.
If you're looking for a reliable, professional, and affordable plumber, well...
Oh, you know what? We don't want it to say affordable. We want it to say expensive. So we can leave it, the client can leave a note, say expensive. Okay, and it's time coded to that so that you will know where that change needs to be done, and then they can send that off to us. So you can collaborate like that. Now, that is just one of the features, because that's a client collaboration where you can, and by the way, you can leave your comments in here as well with the reviews. That's just one way to collaborate with a client. But let's say that you are working on a project like this and you want to have your video editor who's in the other side of the country or the other side of the world work on this. You can actually share this with them. They can go into the actual project and make changes, so you can actually collaborate on the projects together. That could be where maybe you set up the base stuff and you send it to them and say, hey, I need the graphics added to this, or I need the logos and the coloring done. I need color grading done on the video. You can do that. Or you could do the first half and be like, hey, can you finish this off and do the second half? They can go in and they can do the second half of the video. And boom, you get to have all of this done collaboratively without having to send them all the files, and it's all automatic. And that makes this really, really cool. And this is the one feature, everything else that we've seen is really good, but it's editing. It's the same things you would have in Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere or iMovie or Camtasia or ScreenFlow or what have you. But this part here where you can collaborate is what makes this really stand apart. That's the killer feature that actually gives you advantage as opposed to being, when you talk about a web-based video editor, usually it's, is it as good as? Well, this is a feature that makes it better than, and that is extremely rare that you would have something better than in a web-based video editor. But we're not done with this, folks. We've got more things in here as well. Obviously, you got the audio area here. You can change your volume. You can also detach your audio. So if I click this, it's going to detach that audio. So now we've got a separate audio and video file, okay? And so we can adjust that as we need to. So for instance, let's say you had a clip where the sync was off and the voice was off from the sound. You could go in and you can make those adjustments, okay, just by separating that out there. You can change your playback speed, by the way, just by clicking any of these buttons here. You can add audio fade-ins and fade-outs automatically, okay? So all of this built right into the software there. And we go back in here, and again, you can see we got all these different things in here. Any of these you want to get rid of, we can do that, and it'll go right back to the original footage, okay? Again, you can resize using the numbers as opposed to using the drag and drop, which you can do either one. It's going to snap there for you. Overall, I didn't show you transitions yet. Let me show you the transitions. I know we mentioned them a little bit, but we didn't really show them to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out here and I'm going to take another clip. In this case, I will use this green screen version here, which, by the way, you can do green screening in this as well. And if we want to add a transition to this, all we need to do is just drag this over like this, and you'll see it's going to make that little transition there, okay? And when it does that, you can change the transition. So watch this, automatically with the graphic and everything.
Plumbing service. You're looking for a
okay, it did all of that in real time. We didn't have to render anything out or wait for it to build a preview. It was automatic. Now the default transition in this case here was the fade in, but we can change that. By the way, you can also change the default. So if you wanted the default to be a different one, you can go into the settings and change that. But we can choose any of these transitions that are in here. Oh, so let's say we did a radial, okay? And so now this will be a radial. Again, real time.
Plumbing service. If you're looking for a
that simple. With the graphic on there and everything, it didn't slow it down. It didn't cause any issues. So you can edit real time with this, which is actually better than the experience of many people using something like Adobe Premiere. Even on a good video editing computer, you might have to wait a few seconds for that to render out before you can preview it. So that just absolutely blows my mind. Other things to note about this, and again, I'm still learning about it. You've got keyframing abilities. So if you wanted to keyframe things in here, you can do that. So you can come up here, you can see keyframes. So what a keyframe is in animation. So let's say we shrink this down a little bit, okay, and it's in the, so now you've got it in the upper left-hand corner here, but maybe you wanted to have it move, okay? You can add keyframes to this, and then you can change that. And so that once you make your keyframes there, you can see it's gonna whoop, just like that. That's great for graphics, for images. If you want to do some fun stuff, you can add keyframes in there. That's a very advanced feature that most video editors don't have, unless you get into like the Final Cut Pros and the Premieres and whatnot. So that, to me, is a really, really cool feature to have that in there. The other thing, you can, again, preview your transitions in here. So if you wanted to take a look at them, you can see what they do. So dip to black, okay? Any of these, you can check out what they're like, and then you can change it to whichever one you want in here. Like we got the radial going there. So so there you go. This is an amazing product. I am super, super impressed with it. It's going to be a couple of weeks before we can really start to reveal what's going on with this, but this was brought to me today. So this, as I'm recording this, this program was brought to me today. I did talk to the guy who created this about a week and a half ago. We finally got together today, and this is the first day that I've had my hands on this, and I'm already doing all this stuff in here without really any training. I kind of just taught myself for a few minutes, but I wanted to make a preview of this because I see this as a huge, huge potential here for anybody. If you're making instant spokesperson videos, this is a video editor you can use. And because it's collaborative, you could have editors in other places and you can make changes and you can make updates. You can send the previews. I mean, that to me is a killer feature. And then of course over here, we didn't talk about this, you're exporting. You can export your video here and you can send it directly to any of these sites. So if you want to send it directly to YouTube, you can do that. You can connect with YouTube there. You want to send it to Vimeo, you can do that. You want to send it to Google Drive, you can do that. So all of these, you just have to connect them in here. You can do that. And of course, you can export it to your computer as well so that you can do with it as you wish. So again, keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to be talking a lot more about this product because I'm super stoked and super excited about it. It is a killer video editor. And like I said, I've used video editors many times, and I have never used a web-based one that is this responsive, has this many normal standard tools working in the normal standard way. We've used ones where they didn't even have, the drag to, change the length of the clip. I mean, it's like working in a desktop app because it is so quick and it has so many cool features. The animated overlays, the animated motion graphics, the animated texts, incredible. And of course, like I said, we do have green screen in there as well. So if you're an instant spokesperson user and you have the green screen versions, you'll be able to do that with this in here as well. So keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be having the author and creator of this program on the podcast. We're also going to be putting together some great little promotions for this coming up shortly. So a lot to come. Pay attention, and we will get you more information very soon. If you've got questions, feel free to ask, and I'll answer the ones that I can. And maybe there are some that I can't yet, but feel free to ask. We'll talk to you soon.